On April 28, 1988, Aloha Airlines Flight 243 took off from Hilo to Honolulu in Hawaii. The flight, -1 for 1325, departed with 6 crew members and 90 passengers on board. No issues or technical malfunctions were observed during the pre-flight stages, and the flight proceeded as planned. The aircraft had completed 3 flights earlier on the same day, all without any problems. Weather conditions were examined in the weather report, and there were no issues reported regarding the weather conditions. Nothing unusual or suspicious was present, and nobody anticipated that the aircraft was about to experience the most bizarre aviation incident. The pilot of the aircraft, 44-year-old Robert Schorensteimer, was one of the experienced and seasoned pilots of Aloha Airlines, with a flying career that included 8,500 flight hours. He had logged 6,700 hours specifically on Boeing 737 aircraft. The first officer for the flight was 36-year-old Madeline Tompkins, who also had extensive experience with Boeing 737s, accumulating 3,500 hours of flight time out of her total 8,000 flight hours. During the taxi and takeoff, no unusual events were reported, and everything proceeded very normally and smoothly. Around 1348, when the aircraft was approximately 43 kilometers southwest of the island of Maui, it reached its usual cruising altitude of 7,300 meters. Suddenly, a strange incident occurred. A small section of the aircraft's roof detached with a loud noise. The pilot felt the plane yawing left and right, making it difficult to maintain control. Instantly, the cockpit depressurized, and the pilot saw the blue sky beside him. The difference in air pressure inside and outside the cabin resulted in an event known as explosive decompression. At high altitudes, the pressure difference between the cabin and the outside air is significant. Therefore, when a small hole forms in the aircraft, it causes the cabin air to forcefully escape through the hole due to the high pressure. In the case of Aloha Airlines, this small hole led to the detachment of a large portion of the aircraft's roof in the front section. Approximately 5 meters of the roof from behind the cockpit to the mid-first class section suddenly tore away. First-class passengers found themselves exposed to the blue sky, without a roof, at an altitude of 7,300 meters, gripping their seats in fear. Fortunately, all passengers had fastened their seatbelts, preventing them from being thrown out during this bizarre aviation incident, and they remained in their seats. Tompkins, the first officer, took control of the aircraft during the incident. In such unexpected and peculiar accidents, swift action is of paramount importance. The aircraft's pilot promptly assumed control and directed the plane towards the nearest airport. On the island of Maui, just 13 minutes after the incident, the aircraft performed an emergency landing on runway 2 at Kahului Airport. During the landing and taxiing, the crew opened the emergency slides to evacuate the passengers as quickly as possible. Tompkins stood by the slides, assisting passengers in a rapid exit from the aircraft. In the midst of this bizarre incident, only one person lost their life, a flight attendant who was thrown out when the roof detached. In the course of this strange event, 65 individuals were injured, with 8 reported to have suffered severe injuries. The successful landing and the aircraft's overall intact condition, despite this unusual incident, undoubtedly reflect the pilot's skill and mastery, marking a significant and noteworthy occurrence in the history of the aviation industry. The severity of the damage inflicted on the aircraft led to its removal from service. The aircraft components damaged in this incident were never recovered. The National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB of the United States, conducted extensive investigations into the most bizarre aviation accident and its causes. After thorough inquiries, they ultimately concluded that metal fatigue and corrosion in the roof were the factors behind the incident. The aircraft, 19 years old at the time, had been exposed to humidity and salt due to continuous flights in the coastal environment of Hawaii for years. Investigators ultimately determined that the combination of moisture, salt, and atmospheric corrosion had caused the deterioration and fragmentation of the aircraft's structure. One of the passengers mentioned in an interview that they noticed a small crack on the ceiling when seated but did not pay much attention to it, and the flight attendants were not alerted to the issue.